Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Friday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, where I help you look, start, and grow your side business. Welcome. Good to see you. Man, it is a warm day today in Southern California. I can tell you that. I don't know what the temperature is, but it is pretty warm. I don't know where you are. Is it warm or cold? But it's very warm here tonight. Jenny, how are you? Welcome. I'll make it worth your while and quick. Couple of announcements. Well, one announcement. I'm still trying to get back to everybody. Amanda, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So I'm still trying to get back to everybody on text messages and chats and DMs and stuff like that. So thank you for checking up on me and seeing if I'm okay and things are okay. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm getting back to everybody. I thought I would get back to everybody tonight, but by tomorrow I should be all caught up and get into action again, get into my routine. So with that, I know it's a late night, but I'll make it worth your while tonight. I love talking about stories, and I love telling stories, and I love hearing stories. In case you haven't noticed that already, well, maybe because you're new to my lives, but I love stories. I just love all kinds of stories. Even if it's a far-fetched story, I still like hearing a story, right? And then you hear people telling their stories, right? Some people tell their story, and you feel like, man, that's a good story. I think I kind of believe it. You know, it's kind of believable. I don't know. You know, you kind of, and then there are other people that tell you a story, and you're like, that is not happening. I mean, that could not have happened, right? And then there's others people that tell you a story, and you're like, right? Dahlia, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So you have all kinds of people telling you a story, and the way they tell the story and the way you take the story has an effect on you, right? So I heard this from John C. Maxwell the other day. Oh, thank you. This is actually for a skit that I did tonight. I'll be posting. So I'm in gear. I'm in costume mode. So I heard this from John C. Maxwell about this, but I love how the guy he's the man. I mean, he is the man. I have talked about this before, but never in this kind of a context. But he said, if you want to impress folks, then you tell them your success story, right? You know, those people that it feels like when they're telling you about their success, it's like they're like using a lot of ego, right? They're like almost putting others down in a way to rise up, right? They're like boasting with their story, right? They're bragging, right? And it kind of takes away the flavor of the success story. Am I right or am I right? Am I the only one who feels that way? Love, hate, comments, hearts, whatever. So I don't know if I'm the only one who feels that way or not. But some people, when they tell their story, like their success stories, like, you know, it's great, you got all that, but you know, there's a little too much bragging going on, and it just doesn't sit with you, right? So if you want to impress people, talk about your success story. And then the second part, are you ready for this? The second part is, if you want to impact people, tell them about your failures. You know, no success story is worth hearing about if you don't know the struggle, right? I mean, it won't make any sense. People, when they're talking about their glory, I've talked about this many times, you see the glory, but you don't know the story. if you just know the glory, it's like somebody's just boasting and bragging. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right. You, even if the story is relatable to you, most often you'd push it off because it just doesn't sit with you, because the struggle doesn't match. Is not there. The part that really connects you to them is not there, right? So if you want to impact people, tell them about the failures. But here's the thing, don't leave them there, right? You tell them, yeah, I failed, I did this, and I failed. And you're like, that sounds like you're crying for help. You're complaining and blaming. But if you link the two together, if you're talking about the struggle, right, the journey, the how, I was this, and this is what I went through, this is what I'm going through, and now here I am, and then once you learn, and this is what I practice all the time, once you learn how to tell that story in a way that you pick and choose the parts you want to tell so that it relates to your audience. Because I have a long story, right? I have so much to tell, but some of the stuff, if I share with you, you'd be like, okay, well, that doesn't really relate to me, right? So you got to be very selective in choosing the right pieces of your story and the way you tell it, so that it grabs the audience. They can relate to it. It's captivating, right? So impacting is the most important. And I remember this from back in the day. I've said this before. If you want, it's not, you don't want to impress people. You want to be impressed by people, right? You want them to impress you. You don't want to be impressive. You want to be impressed, right? So Nuna Jun, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So, you may think that people don't want to hear the struggles. You're absolutely right. People don't want to hear the struggles if it doesn't follow some kind of a success or a way out of. Because if you leave them at just like the horrible stuff that's on your plate, then it sounds like you're just complaining and moaning. And who wants that? It's like that phone call that comes through from that person, and you're like, oh, I'm not taking this call, right? Because that person is just going to be nagging and negative Nancy all day, every day, right? So, Andrea, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Hopefully you circle back, watch the replay. I'm about to wrap it up. But, so, if you think that people don't want to hear your struggles or your failures or this and that, yeah, you're probably right. Like I said, they don't, because if you just leave them there, there's no hook. There's nothing that they can look forward to, right? You just dumped a bunch of stuff on them, right? So if you got the two parts and you link them together and you know how to tell the story, that's how you can impact. And I've said this all the time, stories are meant to be shared, not stored. So if you got one to tell, if you're sitting on it and you think, oh, who wants to hear that? Believe you me, I used to think like that. Some of the stories I used to tell my best friend, only my best friend, he would sit there and say, dude, no joke, he would say, dude, you gotta write a book with these stories. I'm like, who would want to read this? And I never forget what he would tell. He would tell me. He would tell me, I would want to read that book over and over again. Right? I never thought about that. But believe you me, if you got stories to tell, that you got out of something, you were this and now you're not, and that was the journey, you're sitting on a gold mine. Stories are meant to be shared, not stored. No one wants to hear the same stuff they're going through. They want to hear about things that uplift them and inspiring, overcoming obstacles. Yes, absolutely. You can't just leave them there. You gotta, when you say, you know what, for example, I went through bankruptcy, I went through foreclosure, and I was able to get myself out because I did this, right? And that's part of my story. So somebody who went through that would want to know, well, how'd you do it, right? How'd you get yourself out? How was that process, right? Mint, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Hopefully you can, circle back, watch the replay. I am really about to wrap this up. So with that, it's all about how you tell your complete story. Don't leave people hanging, right? If you're going to inspire somebody, it's not about you bragging and you being impressive. Remember that, because it's, some people are great storytellers, right? You sit there, you hear them talk about a story, and you're like, oh my God, like that was amazing. And then there's that person, maybe in the family, right? You go to that get together and you like run away from that person, because once they catch you, they're going to be telling you the story that's like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? It's like, I've heard this 200 times, right? But so with that, if you got the story, stories are meant to be shared, not stored. Hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. Drop your thoughts, your comments, your feedback below. Let me know what you guys think about that. And if you feel like this was worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Spread the love. Tag a couple people. You are welcome, Jenny. And with that, I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, where I help you look, start, and grow your side business. Signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.